Hey, welcome back to Myron Golden Insights, where we don't just talk about success, we equip you with the mindset and the principles to actually walk in it. If this is your first time here, listen, you're in the right place at the right time, and that's not an accident. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, because what you're about to hear is going to shift something in you that's been stuck for way too long. Now, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How many of you right now are sitting on a dream? How many of you have a vision that God put in your heart, but you haven't moved on it yet? How many of you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but every time you get ready to take that step, something inside you says, not yet, you're not ready, you don't have what it takes? See, that voice that's been keeping you stuck, that voice that's been keeping you playing small, that voice that's been keeping you in the same place year after year after year, that voice has a name. It's called doubt. And today, we're going to expose doubt for what it really is. We're going to pull the mask off of this destiny killer, and we're going to give you the tools to silence it once and for all. Because here's what I know about you. You didn't click on this video by accident. You didn't end up here because YouTube's algorithm made a mistake. You're here because something inside you is tired. You're tired of being stuck. You're tired of playing small. You're tired of watching other people live the life you know you're supposed to be living. And today is the day that changes. Now, I'm going to tell you something right up front. This is not going to be one of those feel-good messages that makes you feel better for 5 minutes and then nothing changes. This is going to challenge you. This is going to push you. This is going to require you to look in the mirror and have an honest conversation with yourself about why you're not where you're supposed to be. But if you'll stay with me until the end, I promise you, you're going to walk away different than you came. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to eliminate every distraction for the next few minutes. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Close those other tabs. Tell the people around you, I need a minute. Because what you're about to hear has the power to change the trajectory of your entire life. And you can't afford to miss it because you were half paying attention. Today we're talking about something that's holding back more people than lack of money, lack of connections, lack of education, or lack of opportunity. We're talking about the silent success killer. We're talking about the invisible prison that keeps people locked up even though the door isn't even locked. We're talking about doubt. And specifically, we're going to answer one question. How do you stop doubting yourself? Because until you stop doubting yourself, nothing else matters. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if you doubt yourself, you won't execute it. You can have the greatest opportunity in the world, but if you doubt yourself, you won't seize it. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you doubt yourself, you'll never actualize it. So if you're ready to break free from the chains of doubt, if you're ready to step into the fullness of who God created you to be, if you're ready to finally start living the life you were designed to live, then buckle up, because by the time we're done today, doubt is going to lose its power over your life. And you're going to gain the clarity, the confidence, and the conviction to move forward into your destiny. Let's get into it. Doubt is a choice that costs you your destiny. Listen, I need you to understand something that most people will never tell you because they don't even understand it themselves. Doubt is not something that happens to you. Doubt is something you do. It's not a feeling that falls out of the sky and lands on your head. It's a decision you make every single morning when you wake up and look at your life and decide that what you see is more real than what God said. See, people think doubt is passive. They think doubt is just this thing that shows up when you're not strong enough, or when you're not smart enough, or when you're not ready enough. But that's a lie. Doubt is active. Doubt is a choice. And every time you choose doubt, you're choosing against your destiny. Now, let me break this down for you because this is critical. Your destiny is not just some vague concept floating around in the spiritual realm. Your destiny is the specific assignment that God gave you before you were born. It's the unique contribution you were designed to make to the world. It's the problems you were created to solve, the people you were created to serve, and the legacy you were created to leave. That's your destiny. And doubt is the #1 killer of destiny in the world today. Think about it like this. Every single day, you wake up with two voices in your head. One voice says, you can do this. God equipped you for this. You have what it takes. The other voice says, who do you think you are? You don't have the credentials. You don't have the connections. You don't have the capital. You're going to fail. Now, here's what most people don't realize. Whichever voice you agree with, that's the voice you empower. Whichever voice you partner with, that's the voice that determines your actions. And your actions determine your destiny. So when you choose to agree with doubt, you're not just having a bad thought. You're making a partnership agreement with the enemy of your future. You're signing a contract that says, I'm going to live below my potential. I'm going to settle for less than God's best. I'm going to play small so I don't have to risk big. And here's the expensive part. Doubt doesn't just cost you money, though it does cost you money. Doubt doesn't just cost you opportunities, though it does cost you opportunities. Doubt costs you your destiny. It costs you the very thing you were put on this earth to accomplish. And you can't put a price tag on that because your destiny is priceless. Let me tell you what happens when you choose doubt. First, you stop taking action because doubt paralyzes. Doubt says, wait until you're ready, wait until you're certain, wait until you have all the information. But you know what waiting really is? Waiting is just doubt in slow motion. You're not being wise, you're not being cautious. You're being controlled by fear that's dressed up in wisdom's clothing. Second, when you choose doubt, you start looking for evidence to support your doubt. See, your brain is designed to find what you're looking for. If you're looking for reasons why you can't succeed, you'll find them everywhere. If you're looking for reasons why it won't work, you'll find those too. But that's not because the reasons are real. It's because your focus creates your reality. You're not discovering truth. You're creating evidence for the lie you already decided to believe. Third, when you choose doubt, you start shrinking. You start making yourself smaller. You start playing down your gifts. You start hiding your talents. You start apologizing for your existence. And every time you shrink, you move further away from your destiny because your destiny requires you to expand, not contract. Your destiny requires you to show up fully, not partially. Now, here's what I want you to understand about the cost of doubt. When you doubt yourself, you're not just affecting you. You're affecting every person who was supposed to be impacted by your obedience. See, God gave you a destiny that's connected to other people's destinies. There are people who need the business you're afraid to start. There are people who need the book you're afraid to write. There are people who need the message you're afraid to share. And when you choose doubt, you're not just robbing yourself, you're robbing them. The cost of doubt is cumulative. It compounds. Every day you choose doubt, you're not just losing that day. You're losing all the days that would have come from that day's obedience. You're losing the momentum. You're losing the connections. You're losing the confidence that comes from taking action. And you can't get those days back. Time is the one resource you can't recover. Money you can make again. Relationships you can rebuild. But time is gone forever. And here's the most tragic part about choosing doubt. It becomes a habit. The more you doubt yourself, the easier it becomes to doubt yourself. The more you choose fear, the more natural fear feels. Pretty soon, doubt becomes your default setting. It becomes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's capable and start seeing yourself as someone who's limited. And once that happens, your destiny doesn't just get delayed, it gets denied. But I want you to hear this clearly. Just like doubt is a choice, faith is a choice. Just like you can choose to agree with the voice of limitation, you can choose to agree with the voice of possibility. Just like you can partner with fear, you can partner with faith. And the moment you make that choice, everything changes. Not because your circumstances change immediately, but because you change immediately. And when you change, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your actions change. When your actions change, your results change. And when your results change, your destiny unfolds exactly the way God designed it. Faith requires action before feelings. Now, let me tell you something that's going to revolutionize the way you approach your life, your business, and your destiny. Most people have been taught that you need to feel ready before you take action. They think you need to feel confident before you step out. They think you need to feel prepared before you make your move. And that's exactly backwards. That's not how faith works. That's not how success works. And that's certainly not how God works. See, faith doesn't wait for feelings. Faith creates feelings. You don't feel your way into acting. You act your way into feeling. And until you understand this principle, you're going to spend your entire life waiting for a feeling that will never come on its own. You're going to sit on the sidelines of your destiny, waiting to feel brave enough, waiting to feel smart enough, waiting to feel ready enough. And you know what you'll be doing 10 years from now? The exact same thing. Still waiting, still feeling unprepared, still stuck. Here's what most people don't understand about feelings. Feelings are followers, not leaders. Feelings don't create reality. Feelings respond to reality. When you take action, your feelings follow your action. When you step out in faith, confidence follows your step. When you make the decision to move forward, courage shows up after you've already started moving. But people get this sequence backwards, and it costs them everything. Think about it like this. If you're waiting to feel like working out before you go to the gym, you're never going to get in shape. The feeling of wanting to work out comes after you've been working out for a while, not before. If you're waiting to feel like building a business before you start building a business, you're never going to be an entrepreneur. The passion for entrepreneurship comes from doing entrepreneurship, not from thinking about entrepreneurship. This is the principle that separates people who accomplish things from people who just talk about accomplishing things. Successful people don't wait for inspiration. They don't wait for motivation. They don't wait to feel like it. They take action first, and then the feelings catch up. They understand that motion creates emotion. They understand that action creates attraction. They understand that doing creates feeling. Now, I want you to understand something about faith. Faith is not hoping things work out. Faith is not wishing for the best. Faith is not positive thinking with your fingers crossed. Faith is acting like it's already done before you see any evidence that it's done. Faith is moving forward when you can't see the whole path. Faith is taking the first step when you don't know where the second step is. And here's what's powerful about this. When you take action based on faith instead of feelings, you're making a statement to the universe, to God, to yourself. You're saying, I believe what God said more than I believe what I feel. I trust the promise more than I trust my emotions. I'm committed to the outcome more than I'm committed to my comfort. Let me give you an example. You know you need to make that phone call. You know you need to have that conversation. You know you need to launch that product. You know you need to start that business, but you don't feel like it. You feel scared. You feel unprepared. You feel like you're going to mess it up. Now, most people let those feelings stop them. They say, I'll do it when I feel ready. But here's the truth. You'll never feel ready. Ready is not a feeling. Ready is a decision. So what do? You make the call anyway. You have the conversation anyway. You launch the product anyway. You start the business anyway. And you know what happens? While you're in the middle of taking action, while you're in the middle of doing the thing you didn't feel like doing, the feeling of confidence starts to show up. The feeling of capability starts to emerge. The feeling of I can do this starts to develop, but it doesn't show up before you act. It shows up because you acted. This is why people who wait for feelings never accomplish anything significant, because significant accomplishments require you to do things you've never done before. And you can't feel confident about something you've never done. You can't feel experienced in something you have no experience in. You can't feel prepared for something you've never prepared for. The only way to get those feelings is to do the thing first. And here's what most people miss. Every single person who ever accomplished anything significant felt the same way you feel right now before they started. They felt scared. They felt unprepared. They felt like they didn't have what it takes. The difference is they didn't let those feelings make the decision. They made the decision and they let the feelings catch up later. See, your feelings are going to be there either way. You're going to feel something. The question is, what are you going to feel? Are you going to feel the temporary discomfort of taking action before you're ready? Or are you going to feel the permanent regret of never taking action at all? Are you going to feel the short-term anxiety of stepping out in faith? Or are you going to feel the long-term pain of wondering what could have been? Because here's the reality: the discomfort of action is temporary, but the discomfort of inaction is permanent. When you take action before you feel like it, you might feel uncomfortable for a few minutes, a few hours, maybe a few days, but that discomfort goes away. It gets replaced by confidence, it gets replaced by capability, it gets replaced by results. But when you don't take action because you're waiting to feel ready, that discomfort never goes away. It just turns into regret, and regret is a feeling that lasts forever. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Stop waiting to feel like you have it all figured out. Start taking action right now in this moment with what you have, where you are, and watch what happens. Watch how the feelings you've been waiting for suddenly show up after you've already started moving. Watch how courage follows action. Watch how confidence follows commitment. Watch how faith creates the very feelings you thought you needed to have before you could exercise faith. Now let me bring this all together for you, because I want to make sure you don't just hear this message. I want to make sure you apply this message. Everything we've talked about today comes down to two fundamental truths that will determine whether you live the life God designed for you or whether you settle for something far less. Truth number one: doubt is a choice that costs you your destiny. Every single day, you're making a decision. You're deciding whether you're going to believe what you see or believe what God said. You're deciding whether you're going to partner with limitation or partner with possibility. And that choice is determining your future right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. When you choose doubt, you're not just delaying your success. You're denying your success. You're not just postponing your destiny. You're forfeiting your destiny. Because doubt doesn't just make you wait. Doubt makes you shrink. Doubt makes you hide. Doubt makes you play small. And your destiny can't fit into a small life. Truth number two: faith requires action before feelings. You've been waiting to feel ready, and I'm here to tell you that ready is not a feeling. Ready is a decision. You've been waiting to feel confident, and confidence doesn't come from thinking. Confidence comes from doing. You've been waiting to feel like you have it all figured out, but the people who accomplish great things don't have it all figured out. They just started moving before they felt like it. See, the bridge between where you are and where you're supposed to be is not information. You already know what you need to do. The bridge is not inspiration. You've been inspired before, and you're still in the same place. The bridge is action. It's doing what you know you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it. It's stepping out even when you can't see the whole path. It's moving forward even when you're scared. And here's what I want you to understand. These two truths work together. When you stop choosing doubt and start choosing faith, that's when action becomes possible. When you take action before you feel ready, that's when doubt loses its power. They feed each other. Faith creates action. Action destroys doubt, and that cycle is what propels you into your destiny. So what are you going to do with this message? Are you going to watch this video, feel inspired for 5 minutes, and then go back to the same patterns that have kept you stuck? Or are you going to make a decision right now that today is the day everything changes? I want to challenge you to do something right now. Think about the one thing you've been putting off because you're doubting yourself. That business you've been afraid to start, that conversation you've been afraid to have, that product you've been afraid to launch, that book you've been afraid to write, that call you've been afraid to make. Whatever it is, I want you to identify it right now, and then I want you to make a decision. Not a wish, not a hope, a decision. Decide right now that within the next 24 hours, you're going to take one action toward that thing. Not the whole thing, just one action. Make one phone call, write one page, record one video, send one email, take one step, because when you take that one step, something shifts. The voice of doubt gets quieter, the voice of faith gets louder, and momentum begins to build. Remember this: your destiny is not waiting for you to feel ready. Your destiny is waiting for you to decide you're ready. God is not looking for people who have it all together. He's looking for people who are willing to trust him even when they don't have it all together. He's not looking for people who feel qualified. He's looking for people who are willing to step out even when they feel unqualified. So today, make the choice. Stop doubting yourself, not because you have all the answers, but because you have access to the one who does. Not because the path is clear, but because the calling is certain. Not because you feel ready, but because your obedience is more important than your readiness. Your destiny is too important. Your calling is too significant. The world needs what only you can provide. And it's time for you to stop playing small and start walking in the fullness of who God created you to be. Listen, if this message spoke to you today, if something shifted inside of you while you were watching, I need you to do something for me. I need you to leave a comment right now and tell me this: I'm done doubting myself. Just type those 4 words. I'm done doubting myself. Because when you declare it, when you speak it out, something happens in the spiritual realm. You're making a public commitment. You're drawing a line in the sand. You're saying, this is where it changes. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell for Myron Golden Insights. Because we're not just dropping videos here, we're dropping transformation. Every single week, we're bringing you the principles, the mindset, and the strategies you need to break through the barriers that have been holding you back and step into the abundance God has for you. Share this video with somebody who needs to hear it. You know who they are. That friend who's been stuck, that family member who's been playing small, that colleague who's been doubting themselves. Send them this video right now. Because when you help somebody else break free, you reinforce your own breakthrough. Remember, your future is not determined by your past. Your future is determined by the decisions you make today. So make the decision right now. Stop doubting yourself. Start walking in faith and watch how God shows up when you show up. I'll see you in the next video. Now get out there and become the person you were created to be.